What's going on, everyone? My name is John. I'm a filmmaker slash creator and your host for Make Lemonade podcast, where we talk about how to change our circumstances when life happens. In other words, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Today, we're talking about putting people on a pedestal. Welcome everyone to Make Lemonade Podcast, to a new month, a new day. I'm telling you, it is amazing that today is June 1st. I'm super excited to be talking to you today on this day. I'm just in awe with what we're going to share with you today, but most of all is that you are listening, you're tuning in, you are giving feedback, and that is amazing. Of course, you can always contact us on any of these platforms that we have. Also, you can contact us on our website, where is mainly where we talk to people and we communicate about what's going on with our podcast by them signing up for our emailing list. You can do that. You can hear us to many podcast areas. You can share us to those podcasts, and it is just amazing how you are responding to this podcast, Make Lemonade. And it's so amazing, right? We're so amazing because we know that it is something that we all want to learn, sharing a little bit of information, some insight of what we've gone through and how it can help someone else. And it's only making us better humans because we are inspired and we're motivated by other people's lives that we have gone through, and we share that. And this is the exact same thing that I'm doing here. I'm sharing today something that in my life I have gone through, and I've seen the ups and downs of it, and I wanted to share with you that today because I see it in today's world and I want you to avoid it, because it's going to take you to a place you don't want to go. And trust me, I have been in that phase and it's very, very hard to get out. So today we're talking about putting people on a pedestal. Alright guys, so for point number one, we're talking about the pros of having someone on a pedestal. Okay, now before we get into it, I am going to be talking about 3 points. And number one is going to be the pros on having somebody on a pedestal, the cons, number two, of having somebody on a pedestal, and number three, it's going to be about how to recover, and in other words, leadership. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. And the reason why I'm putting it this way is because, you see, putting someone on a pedestal growing up for me was something that I benefited from and something that really crushed me in the long run. In the short run, it was amazing. In the long run, it was devastating. Now, I'm going to go through this process as we go to the pros and the cons. And then I'm going to talk about how I recovered and what I found to be my help to really move forward in this area. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today, because I believe this is very, very important for you to understand what it means to put somebody on a pedestal. Okay, so for number one, we're going to talk about the pros of having someone on a pedestal. Now, before we start, let's define what a pedestal is, right? And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And so one of the definitions in there is a position in which someone is greatly or uncritically admired. That is what is defined as pedestal. Okay? Now, pedestal is, in a short summary, is putting somebody up on top of something, right? And making them the main point that we look at. So for example, a statue or columns. There's a pedestal that is built, right, underneath them as a foundation. And that pedestal holds the statue or hold the pillar so it can have a place that it can sit on and it can grab itself from. Okay, so when you think about this in terms of putting someone on a pedestal, and we're talking about celebrities, we're talking about people you look up to, you're talking about people who you have admired for years, people on YouTube, people on TikTok, people are doing stuff that you want to do, and you're putting them on a pedestal, right? And the pros of this, right, is that it's a picture of what you want to do. That's the pro. It's a picture. It's somewhere that you see yourself and you're like, I want to be like that person. I admire what they are doing. This is something that really, tugs at my passion, tugs of my, inside, that I really want to be like this person. I want to accomplish what they do. I want to look the way they do. I want to do everything that they do, right? You want to have the things that they have. And those are things that as a person, we claim that we want, right? That is putting somebody on a pedestal. Without unconsciously knowing, we are putting somebody on a pedestal. Now, that is something very, very simple that we either know or don't know. Now, this is the unconscious and the conscious. The conscious part, we do know that we want somebody to admire. We want that mentor. We want that person that leads us to the process of what we're doing because we don't know what to do. Right? And that's what we want. Okay? That's the process. That's putting somebody up there on your area and you're looking up to that person. So it starts defining you, right? That person starts defining you. It doesn't have to be. It can be a place. It can be a location. It can be whatever you put up there. It starts defining you. One of the things for me that I would look at as I was growing up were my brothers, right? Because I grew up without a father due to the fact that he passed away when I was 3 years old. So I don't remember anything about my father. Now, one bit, just stories that my mom would tell me about him. And so he was a great man, took his family everywhere around the United States and was able to travel with his family. Beautiful, right? But passed away. So I was 3 years old when this happened, so I had no memory of my father. The memory is only of how I grew up with my brothers, learning from them, right? They were the first people that I actually saw as someone that I could look up to. And I learned a lot from them, right? And, some of the stuff that I have in my character is from each one of them because I've taken and I've learned something good from each one of them that I've taken, right? So it's developed my character. It's developed who I am. One of the things that have put me on a pedestal has been movie characters. That's one of the biggest things that, in my life. This is why I believe I chose filming as my career, because that's what I looked up to. When I didn't have that inspiration from my close related family, not my significant other, my close related family, I turned to movies. With these characters were so awesome. They were so, put together. They were like the heroes of their movie. And, everything that they did, I just wanted to do. For example, when I was learning how to, have relationships in terms of, having a girlfriend, I learned how to talk to girls from movies. As ironic as that is, you may have done the same or you may not have, but I'm bold enough to say that this is one of the places that I actually went to find how to communicate with the opposite sex. And it was so funny because one of the first movies that I saw that I was like wowed was actually the movie Hitch with Will Smith. And it was so amazing because he was like this smooth guy. He started off being like a very dorky guy who had his heart broken and then decided that he was never going to have his heart broken again because he never wanted to love. And so what he did instead, he helped other people find love. And in that instance, he knew everything about women, according to the beginning of the movies, right? And of course, the story develops, and you find the character where he has to find himself again, and he has to come into the point of love, right? That he has to face love, he has to accept love, and the relationship that he falls in love with. Okay, so he faces that challenge of fear that he had. So that character for me was so motivating, because I was like, you know what, man, I want to have a relationship like that. It's so amazing, it's so awesome, and and this is the way that I would actually approach girls and try to communicate, try to be like this suave kind of person, and so many other movies, right? Like tough guy movies, action movies, comedy movies, and I was trying to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then it came to the point with a little more when I started admiring people who were not in movies, fake characters, but who were actually people who were leaders that were leading, and I would grab their character and pull it to me. I would admire these people. I would put these people on a pedestal as being like amazing people, perfect people, right? And it was amazing because it developed my character. I was becoming this person that people were looking up to, that people were seeing. They're like, wow, that person's going to be amazing. And, that's, he's a serious person. He's really dedicated to what he's doing. He's focused, right? And I was so glad because at this point, I was developing my character through other characters, right? And it was so amazing because people were getting to know me as who I was through these characters, and they were liking this character, and they were accepting these characters, and I was like, okay, this is good, right? When I would go to work, people enjoy this kind of character. People like this kind of character. It was so friendly, it was so accepting that it was just someone who they would want to work with, someone that they could admire. And so when it came to the point of this, it was so positive for me. It was a pro. It was a pro because I was developing a character, and that's what people were getting to know me. Okay? So the pros of this is that one, you develop your character, okay? You develop who you are. You create this character of your life. Number two, you have people from different areas that you can grab the best things from and apply it to your life. So those are the things that I saw as positive when it came to admiring someone. And now we're going to go into point number two, the cons of having someone on a pedestal, which is going to be really great, and I want you to check it out. So let's go to point number two. Alright guys, so we are on point number two. Point number two is cons of having someone on a pedestal. The cons. What is the negative part about having someone on a pedestal? Well, just as the positive was so inspiring, and you could probably relate to what I was talking about, because most of us we gain who we are through the people around us, right? What they think about us, the way they react to either a joke or the way they think about political issues, society, culture. It surrounds us, and that's who we become, right? And through this whole process, I started realizing that I was becoming someone I was not. Okay? That is the con. That is one of the cons. You're becoming someone that you're not. Because you start becoming someone that people are liking of a character that you are building upon other characters. Now, this sounds very contradicting, right? But this is what I saw in the con of it. You see, when you start developing yourself through other people, you start taking other people's opinions, you start taking other people's areas in their life, right? And you put them on this pedestal, and they are like gods to you. Whatever they say must be right, must be true. For example, I talk about this story so often with Dr. Miles when he talks about how he admired what was the movie? Oh, it was a show. It was a show with, I forget the person's name, but he's a popular person, and it's a popular old show that would go. I think it's I don't remember, but if it comes to my head, I will let you know. I think it was just the tip of my tongue. Anyways, so this show goes on, and it's a very popular show, and the man that is talking it's he's known as a great person, helped a lot of people, and I think it's Bill Cobsley. I think I'm saying that right. The show that he came out in, and Bill Cobsley goes on there and says, "Golf is a stupid game. You find yourself with grown men hitting a ball into a little hole." And from that point, Dr. Miles went on telling people the same thing. Golf is a stupid game. You find yourself trying to hit a ball into a little hole. And it went on and it went on until actually someone actually took him, Dr. Miles Monroe, to a golf, and he was able to see that golf was just not a game that would help you release stress, would help you relax, but it was also a game that would help you make deals in businesses, connect you to people and other things as such. And he started realizing that people there had his money in a sense, right? Now, and the reason why he says that, you have to hear the whole message, but my point is he was thinking the way that person was thinking. In other words, it created his way of belief. He started believing that. And this is what happens when you believe in someone and you put him on a pedestal. Now, Dr. Miles no longer is with us. He has passed. However, I believe if he would have seen him now with what he had become, I don't think he would be so fond of what he became, right? And this is the number two. This is the thing that happens when you put someone in a pedestal, right? Not only do you build this character that you're going to have to play many times in front of other people that really isn't who you are, but it's the people who are surrounded around you. And number two is when those leaders fail you, you are completely crushed in your belief in who you thought you were, and now you don't know what to do. You find yourself lost. You see, and this is what happened to me. I had several leaders do this constantly over and over again. And you're talking about people that I literally like try to put them on a pedestal, and I would literally admire every single thing that they would do. To the point that I started dressing like them, to the point that I started like acting like them, and so on and so forth. And I started realizing when this happened, I was like, whoa, what do I do now? If they collapse and they fail, what do I do? And so I would stop seeing them, or would stop hearing anything they would say anymore, and I would now be lost of the character that I was, because I felt like I was living a lie of who I was. So it devastated me when I put someone on a pedestal. Multiple leaders, multiple people that I looked up to. Now, is it their fault that they, chose a different path and had a life-changing circumstance that it affected me? I can't say yes, because I chose to follow them, I chose to listen, and I chose to respect and take their advice for who they were, because they were such great speakers, because they spoke so amazing, because they were followed by many, and that was technically my fault. But was it their fault for what they did? Yes. Was it my fault? Was it their fault for what it happened to me? No. Because they did what they did, and I chose to do what I did. I chose to believe who they were and apply it to my life, and then it devastated me because of what had happened. Now, we see this constantly in today's world. right? We see leaders being corrupted. We see now leaders doing stuff that we never thought they would. We see that money is running leaders. We see that, things in our lives are not the way they seem with the people that we thought who they were. And since I one of the things that I did in life is I grew up in a church, and I would looked up to pastors or preachers like they were perfect. I always asked myself, I was like, what did they do after the sermon? Like I thought that they were so spiritual that after like the sermon they would lock themselves in a room and like, like this glowing light would appear and they would just be in that presence. And this is what I thought. But when I actually got behind the scenes, things were so different. Very different. It was I would say it was a culture shock, as even because I believe that it can't become a culture in this area of being a part of a religion or a non-denomination which doesn't consider themselves religious, right? But they're a part of a group that can be a cult, that can be a because they believe in something, right? So they become a culture, they become a society, they become something that now is lived according to their rules, right? Now, I'm not speaking against Christianity. I'm not. I am not whatsoever, because I believe in the Bible. I believe, and that's what I live by, right? But my purpose here is to see who are we putting on a pedestal and the cons of it. We talked about the pros, now this is the cons. So this is what happened to my life, and it was devastating, right? It was just a tragedy because you believe in something and that is taken from you. That is taken from you, and you think, what? How? And that even happens today. Unconsciously, there are some people that I'm still looking up to, and then something happens and I'm like, whoa, 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 what just happened, right? And the thing is that I come to the point of understanding, which I'm going to get into in point number 3, that people are human. Okay? And this is why one of the things that I talk about is be inspired, be motivated to be better humans. People are humans, and we're not perfect. This is why I also enjoy learning history. Because through history, we see not the repetition, but the repercussion of what happens to the decisions that we make as humans. You can go back into history and you can see the consequences of what some leader did that in some way you did as well, either in your younger age, in your present age, or you're going to be doing in the future. But you're going to come to that point and you're going to be thinking about, what do I do? This is what I love about history, because in so many times, anything that we've done today has probably been done very different, because now we have different things that we do, and we're moving into technology, right? We're moving into the discovery of AI, and it's just becoming something huge from where people were from, where they would fight with swords, and they would in the Stone Age, right, the Iron Age, and we have come a long way to where we are now. I can't even imagine. Last time I was talking to Carla, I was telling her, we were each giving ourselves opinions, and we were talking about how amazing it would be when we are so advanced that we can move to different planets by just, like if we were right now, like if I were to go from where I was and I would just say, you know what, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to spend the weekend there. I'm going to spend New Year's there, right? Just like that, but in a different planet. And be like, you know what, I am going on vacation to planet 465, and I'm going to spend there the weekend, and then I'll be back by next Tuesday back on Earth. Or be like, oh, my dad works on, planet 11256 on the east side of the universe, and my mom works on the other 004356 planet, and they're coming back around Wednesday around 6 o'clock. You know, that is how amazing, like, we can think further into the future, how things would possibly be. So let's get back into where I was talking about, because I went a little further. That's a different conversation. But it was very interesting to me of how life was so life changing when the people that I would put on a pedestal would fall. Now, you've seen statues from the history, you've seen pillars that have fallen, and some that are still there, especially in the Greek area, Roman area. We have this amazing like temple with pillars that are so beautiful in Italy, and so many others, and they're still there. Some have fallen and been destroyed. This is what it looks like, putting people on a pedestal. Some people strive and they live their life disciplined so that they won't ever fall into these errors that others have fallen. And they do a good job, and they probably will live their life like that. And they'll be someone great to admire, right? But when we come to this point right now, ask yourself, who am I putting on a pedestal? Who? Because what we're going to go next to is, if you have been in the area that I just spoke of, the area where you are in the I don't know what to do, because I've done this, I've looked up to people, I've based my character around them, but I'm lost because now there are people that corrupted. There are people that went the other way that I thought they were not supposed to go to, and that's what they did. Today I'm going to help you on point number 3. We're talking about leadership. So let's go into point number 3. Alright guys, so we are on point number 3, and we're talking about leader. Okay, so before we go in anything, let's just define real quick leader. Leader is the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. Okay, we're going to come back to that definition, but first, let's talk about what happens when you switch from being in a place to the pros. You're creating a character from multiple areas, then each of these areas start failing, and you find yourself in a place of the identity you do not know, right? Because you believed something that you thought was working, and out of a sudden that person that you put on a pedestal, for some reason they failed and they're no longer able to continue what they're doing, and you are in an awe because you're wondering, what do I do next? This is what I've believed most of my life, and or in the present time, what do I do next? This is the area that I found myself in. And the crazy thing about it is, when you find yourself in this area, you are at a place where you don't trust and you don't believe what people are saying anymore, and you become numb. Okay, and so what happens in this area, there's a lot of things that as an individual you're trying to figure out, and sometimes that's really hard as you're continuing your life, right? You're growing, you're becoming older, and you're trying to really get yourself together because you feel like you're just everywhere, right? And right here, the key word that we're talking about today on point number 3, leader, is such a powerful thing. You see, because I would see all these people be pedestals, because I wanted to be like them one day. I wanted to be a pedestal for someone one day. I wanted to do what they did. I looked up to them. I admired them. But what I came to realize that changed my whole perspective was that at all time, the leadership that came was from me. That is key, from inside of us. That's why Dr. Miles for me is someone that I realized that what that he was saying was so in in unison with what I was figuring out, because I was realizing that one, you can't put someone on a pedestal, because that's only going to create, literally going to create devastation. It's going to create falsehood. It's going to be like they're going to fail you. People are going to fail because we are people and we fail. That's our process. We fail and then we get up and then we try again and we do it better the next time, right? Some, of course, they don't try again, or some don't do better the next time. But again, you keep on trying, you keep on moving forward as humans. So what do you do in this concept? In this concept, you got to find your leadership. You got to find who you are as a leader, okay? Because you can go copying so many people. You can go copying and cheating, but at the end, when you figure out that you have to be who you are when you're by yourself, that's the hardest part. Because you can't even stand yourself because you don't know who you are. And you have to be around those people that make you feel significant. Because you believe that the process that you've been going is the only way to come to be, because that's what you've created. You've created a character that you believe you are through the process of people around you. Okay? I'm not saying technically that's a bad thing, because you're going to have people around you. But the point here is what I'm getting to, right? You're going to have people that you can look up to. You can have people that are you are influenced by, you're inspired by. But technically, you're not doing what they're doing because it's not your life. You're living your own life. So what does that mean? It means that you are the captain of your ship. Okay? If you copy another ship, everything they do, and you come into a point when you no longer are looking up to this person, this person is no longer there for some reason, and you come across this issue, this circumstance that you don't know what to do, you're going to be frozen. And that is not what you want. Why? Because you've allowed yourself only to see what others see in their life versus what you see in your life. Does that make sense? So when we talk about leadership, again, the definition for leader is the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or a country. Now, I talked about leadership, and I talked about what a leader does in any circumstances. A leader is to lead someone to a place. And that's why I don't believe in owning humans. I believe that we're here to help, right, the earth, take care of the earth, help the animals that are a part of the earth, and we are here to multiply and be able to keep the human race going. Pretty simple purpose that we have. Now, if you want to listen more on purpose, I actually do have a podcast that I talked about on purpose. Okay, you can go and check that out on the podcast. It talks about purpose and what our human purpose is. If you're having a little bit of a challenge trying to see what your purpose is, it will help you tremendously. So as you're developing your leadership, as you're developing yourself, you are developing a section of how to lead yourself through the oppositions that are coming against you, and you're learning how to maneuver your way through it, because at a point you will have people that you lead. Okay, you have people that you lead under you, and then one of the things that I talk about huge is freedom. Okay, it's huge. Why? Because freedom, in my own definition, is a responsibility. We are responsible for ourselves as humans, to take care of ourselves, to make sure that we are good. That is our responsibility. And that's what I believe freedom is, because we have that responsibility to really take care of ourselves, take care of others, and guide people, right? Because there's always going to be someone who needs to follow something, right, as humans. And the only purpose for that is to teach them how to keep going and helping this earth. And the reason why we have leaders in different areas and different locations is because we need people to be leading others in a certain area so that area can move forward. Hence, the definition, which is, here we have it, and it is leader is leads as a definition means moving forward. Whether in this definition it has holding them by the hand, halter, or by a rope, etc., but it's while moving forward. That's what leads do. Okay? Leads. When a leader leads you somewhere, he is moving you forward. Right? That's why he has the position to command, whether it be a group or an organization or a country, to command people to do certain things in an area because that area needs to work a certain way, right? Whether you be in a certain section, whether it be helping the earth on a place over here and over there, and different areas where it might be cold, it might be hot, and it works different. And that's what we have leaders to lead us into that process. Okay? It became politics when we were trying to, first of all, in a sense, govern people, but it came to the point of telling people as ownership what to do because they belong to us because they're in a certain area. And that's not what happens here. As humans, we should not lead each other, enslave each other, but we should lead each other in a certain area because people are all leaders. We are responsible for what we do because we all have the freedom to do it. Okay? And we decide what we want in our lives. And that is the beautiful thing when it comes into number 3 about leader. When you're having this pedestal of people and it fail you, you start recognizing that in yourself, you are a leader. You are a leader, and it's not worth putting yourself or anybody on a pedestal because you are not over anybody. But when you are in a place where you have been given a position to be a leader, you are to lead people forward, not back. Not close their eyes to the truth. Because the truth will always set us free. And the hard thing about the truth is sometimes we won't like the truth. But it is the truth. So that's what a leader does. It leads. It's an authority. And I have to reiterate again, it's not to enslave people. It's to lead people. If you're not leading somebody forward, then you're not doing your part as a leader to lead. You want to move people forward. And that's why one of the things that, and I'm going to step a little bit out and of the thing that we're talking about right now, and talk about, that's why with regular jobs, right, with the 9 to 5, not regular job, but from the 9 to 5, you have this process of people believing that have businesses, believing that they're going to hire people so that they can tell them what to do. I don't know if you ever heard the process of someone saying, that's what you got to become, the CEO. You got to become this so you can have people work for you, so you can have people do what you need them to do. And that is the wrong concept of when it comes to a business. I believe in every business, every single business, right? If the person is not there to, let's say, for example, their dream is to do something else, right? Maybe, let's just make something up here. Their dream is to have a construction company, but they're working for your restaurant. You are not to shut them down from their dreams. Because your point as someone who you're hiring is, yes, to follow your vision of making food that is amazing for your people, right? For the people that you're servicing. But the point is, This person has a dream. You don't enslave him so that he won't reach his dream. You don't enslave her so that they won't reach your dream. You help them. Help them reach their dream. And in turn, they will tell others about how you help them, and others are going to come to you for that help. Again, talking about that tree and how you become a tree with branches to feed others, right? These are the opportunities that we get. And that's why in today's society, when I go into businesses and I see people enslaved in their jobs, I see people like worried. One of them, I used to work as a assistant for a teacher, and I remember going into a school, and I remember going and teaching a class, and I remember seeing the teacher I think the teacher was there for 4 years, and it had 3 of the cards that they give you. And I looked at each one of those cards, and I believe me not, but believe me please, that this teacher looked super young when she first came in. I mean, like super young. By the 3rd picture that I have seen, it looked like she had jumped from her present time, being young, to her future time, like 50 years later. That is the process of when it comes to even universities and so on and so forth. The university is a business. It's not what it's supposed to be. It's a business. A university is supposed to be a place where you get educated to pretty much work in society and be able to move society forward. Whether it be your studies, whether it be your business, whether it be as a worker, that's what it is, to move our society forward. That's what education is, to educate us in this world, right? But it has turned into something of just, hey, pay, give me the money, and yeah, we're going to help you out. And it doesn't turn to be like that. So, back to where I was saying, we're talking about putting people on a pedestal. It's very dangerous to do this. And I recommend that you discover your leadership. Discover your leadership, because it's going to be the process that will take you in creating and developing what you have inside of you. Each and every one of us, when you were born with everything you needed inside of you. Everything. Your aspiration, your inspiration, your motivation, your person, your characters, everything is in you. Not people who are outside of you, not people who want to dictate your life, or because society runs a certain way, because culture does certain things. You, right here. Okay? I know trends, and I know that, many people want to believe things because others are doing it, and it's the peer pressure to do it. But inside of us, our character is there. And I say this, in this world we have good and we have bad. There is nothing that we can do to escape that. In ourselves as humans, we have good and we have bad in us. There's nothing that we can do to escape that. But and right now on this podcast, Make Lemonade podcast, I implore you, I advise you, I encourage you to choose good. Choose good. Discover your inner self. Discover what you like. And believe it or not, this comes with spending time by yourself. This comes with spending time by yourself. Getting to know who you are. Discovering what you like, what you don't like. Not what other people in front of you say, oh, I like this, oh, I don't like this. Not what a pretty girl comes in front of you, says that she doesn't like this and she doesn't like that, and you start believing the same thing. No. Or even a guy, for girls. The charm, right? But it's inside you. Spend time with yourself. Spend time to get to know yourself. Discover yourself. And you're going to see the beautiful full potential that you have. And that is the talk that we have today for putting people on a pedestal. And I hope that you are encouraged. I hope that you are motivated, because this is, I'm telling you, this is something that will change your life for the better. All right, everyone. So you are at the end of today's podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today and tuning in. I really hope that you are inspired and motivated to be better humans today and for the rest of your life. I'm so glad that you were here from wherever you are at in the country, in your country, in this world. We want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you listening to us. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate you signing up for our emailing list. I mean, I'm telling you, it is amazing what is happening with Make Limited Podcast, and we are expected to grow even more. Okay, so we are already on multiple podcasts. Some of the podcasts that you can see us at is Amazon Music, Audible, from Amazon. You can also hear us on Spotify. You can hear us on Apple Podcast. You can on Google Podcasts. I mean, you name it. A bunch of variety of other podcasts as well. And you can hear us. You can share us, because people need to listen to what we have to say. Because one reason that I can give you that they need to hear is because all we want to do is just elevate people's life to be better humans. That's it. That's our simple message, because we have gone through places, we have gone through so many things, and the one thing that we can do is share our story, because you never know how your story could save a life. So that's where we do it, and we're here every Tuesday. So check us out next week, where we're going to be here on Tuesday and talking about more amazing stuff so that you can be a part of something amazing. We'll talk to you later. Peace.